Welcome back to You're Done. Hey, Tash.
Hey, Brendan.
So we have someone special here with us today.
I'm so excited, y'all. I cannot even contain myself.
If you've read the title of this episode, you'll know that it is in fact my mom.
Yeah!
Whose name is
Kim Bailey.
Kim Bailey. Wow, government name. And so you've joined us today for our podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
She got on a plane and everything
She
for this.
did. We shipped her all the way from Calgary just for this. And so today's episode, we're just going to talk about her, and mostly she's probably going to tell you embarrassing stories about me, and Tash is going to get to interview her, and it'll be a fun time.
Love this.
This is the finale episode.
It is of
for
season 2.
Season 2. So we thought, why not have one of the most special guests?
Yes, I love it.
But before we get into everything about you, is there anything you want people to know about for you? How would you describe yourself?
I'm Brendan's mom.
Okay.
Screaming.
I'm 54 years old.
Okay.
I
This is your
enjoy long walks on the beach.
Love that.
Okay. Fried chicken?
Yeah, fried chicken is good.
Can you make a good fried chicken?
Yeah,
Slay.
yeah.
She likes to make everything like from
Yeah.
scratch.
I love
I'm
that.
a from-scratch cooker.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
this isn't her dating profile because, in fact, my dad is here. He's chaperoning to make sure she doesn't say anything. So, Dad, you can lean and wave.
Oh.
Hi.
Look at this family. Gag the cuteness. Gag.
So, and you're a counselor
Yes, I'm a
Yeah.
counselor.
and a teacher?
Yeah, I teach at a couple of post-secondary places in Calgary, the University of Calgary and
Yeah.
Bow Valley College.
Okay,
So
Professor.
after this episode, she's getting fired for being unprofessional.
Yeah, probably.
She's going to guide us through.
Yeah.
Guide
Some of
and
her
counsel.
students may be watching, actually.
Hey, students.
Hey, students.
Hi, Melanie. Hi, Bronwyn.
Wow.
She's like,
Full shout
I know
out.
you're listening.
Yeah, I know you're listening. They're going to be clipping this. Okay, so before we get to talk all about you, we're going to do the catch up, which you've heard before because my mom does listen to the podcast. So we'll start with that. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
The catch up.
So Tash, what's new? What's happened in the last week?
Well, not a lot, honestly, has happened in the last week, to be
Okay.
honest with you, other than the temperature changing. And you guys know, first of all, I'm in a short sleeve. No, but wait, I gotta
Yeah.
show you, I'm in a short sleeve.
We're turning into a weather podcast.
We are. We
Every episode is about
We
the
are.
weather in Toronto.
But then also, friend of the pod, KB,
Yeah, shout
also
out KB.
roasted me because we have not talked about her in the last 2 episodes. So we love you and we miss you.
Okay,
So I had to bring
sorry.
her up on
Sorry,
that.
KB.
She did.
Yeah. On
But-
the finale, that's important.
Exactly, it is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
But I did go to Canadian Tire.
Okay, shout out Eddie.
Oh, true. But it's not a good story about Canadian Tire.
Oh,
so,
sorry.
mm.
Never mind.
So, okay, I want a new couch or like a love seat for my balcony. Okay. And it says there's one left in stock at the Liberty Village location.
Okay.
So when one says one left in stock, it means it's there,
Hopefully.
right?
Hopefully.
Okay, sure. And so, but I'm like, I don't want to buy it until I sit on it to then like see its comfort.
Right.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I go there with, with the husband.
Mm-hmm.
We go
Shout
there
out Angel.
and they're like, oh yeah, we have it in stock, but it's not here.
Oh.
So then where is it? They're like,
Yeah.
because we're at basement location, we actually don't keep things here. It's at like a warehouse. I'm like, so then you don't have one in stock.
Right.
You don't
So
have-
where is it?
So you don't have one in stock, right? So I'm all like frustrated because we went all the way there for that.
Yeah.
We left with like, those things that you can put on your balcony. It's like a greenery fence between your balcony and the other end.
Yeah.
So we bought that, sure.
Okay. Nice.
So then I go home. I'm like, okay, let's see if I can figure out which way to get it. okay?
Yeah.
So I see this other couch. It's a little smaller, which I should probably get that one.
And these are like specifically outdoor couches?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay, I can get that one. But it says you can't get it delivered. You can only do it pickup.
Okay.
But then I call and I said, do you guys have it? They're like, no. So I'm like, how do you do pickup?
Yeah.
So you
We're
have to
not
get it-
picking up.
You have to get it delivered to Canadian Tire. And then you have to get, then you go and pick it up from there.
Yeah, they have an interesting.
So I'm like, so it's not pickup.
Make
then,
it make sense.
It's not pickup. Then it's delivery.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just having this whole hoopla right now with Canadian Tire.
Yeah.
And like, I just don't know what to do.
I mean,
Do I go pick it up? Do I pay the $110 for the other one to be brought to my house?
yeah, I'll ask my inside contact.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
well,
I'll see if we can get.
I would like it this week. I just want an additional seating unit on my balcony.
Right.
But I didn't think it'd be this hard to spend money.
Yeah, because their new apartment, their balcony is like super long.
It's super long.
So it would be a waste not to have more
It's a waste of space,
Yeah.
right? To not use it. But that's my
Well, shop Canadian. You're done.
I'm really trying. I'm really trying. I'm like, Wayfair is just what I need.
You're going to get a person in a box. Order it from Wayfair. You never know.
I'm like, I just want to get it from Wayfair, but I'm like, I should just get it from Canadian Tire. I'm really trying here.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
So we'll see if I get it.
Yeah. My You're Done story is actually still from my trip because I had so many. I wanted to be able
that you have here.
Okay. So I was
Mom, does he have a tan?
Yeah, I do. Look at the corner of my head.
What are you doing right now?
Okay, so my hair.
He looks pink.
This is how you can tell she looks pink.
The first read.
So the way that I can always tell if I have a tan is because my hair always falls over this corner of my forehead. If I lift it up, there's a color difference.
So you're going to tell me you're going to walk around to everyone and be like, I have a tan.
Look.
See?
Yeah, it's my reveal. It's my drag reveal.
Let's see.
I do have one.
No.
Okay, whatever.
He doesn't have a tan.
Yeah, I do. So my You're Done story is back from Palm Springs because we had so many, and it was a good one, but I couldn't like give them all the way at once.
Of course.
So when Kennedy and I were there, shout out Kennedy, we were taking an
Missy.
Uber. Pardon? Oh,
I said, hi, Missy.
hi, Missy. That's a family affair episode.
Okay.
Anyway, so we were taking an Uber and it ends up being this like older woman that picks us up. Her name is Jacqueline. I'll give her a real name. I don't care. And we get into her vehicle and immediately she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I haven't been driving Uber for a while. I just do Uber Eats. So if it smells weird or if it's dirty, it's not my fault. And we're like, okay. And so she's driving us to wherever we're going. And then she's like, just really chatty. And I'm like, oh, you need friends, lady, but okay, whatever. And then she asked us at one point, like, oh, where are you guys from? Like, where are you visiting from? And we're like, oh, we're visiting from Canada. She was like, oh, that's the 51st state, right? And at first we thought she was joking. And we were like, no, Canada's like its own country. She's like, oh, that's not what I've been hearing on the news.
Girl.
Yeah. And so immediately we're like, you're done, Jacqueline. But she kept talking and she's telling us her whole like life story. And it was just like so weird. And then we get to the restaurant we're going and she drives past it. And I was like, oh, I think you missed. And she's like, oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. You know what? I'll just turn off the ride so you don't get charged more and I'll just take a different way, and starts going a totally different direction. And I was like, actually, you know what, Jacqueline? You could just pull over because I don't know what 51st State lady is going to get us to do, where she's going to take us directly to ICE, maybe.
No.
I don't know.
She's the two whitest looking people. I mean, bring them to
supporting the Canadians.
Supporting the Canadians.
No, but we were like, what? Anyways, so then we just got off on the side of the road and we're like, bye forever, Jacqueline.
Oh.
She was very, you're done. But it was hilarious. I couldn't believe that somebody actually,
you know what,
truly, we know
she must be like in the Facebook.
In the
like Fox News.
Yeah.
And truly believes all of the hoopla.
She looked like that. She had like a bad dye job and a weird accent. And I was like, you're exactly the people on the internet.
That's the demographic for that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was my You're Done moment. I thought that I would share.
Love.
And then Kennedy gets to be involved. So it's like literally the whole family's here.
Whole family.
Yes.
So Mom, what's your catch up? What's your done moment for the last little bit?
So Brendan gave me a heads up that I needed to think about this because, let's be honest, I'm not really clear on what a You're Done moment is.
Even if you listen to the podcast, you still can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Honesty.
But so what I came up with was this last week, I've been listening to, so normally I listen to audiobooks when I drive, or music, but I'm finding music is too loud. So I like listening to talking now.
Okay.
And so because of you guys, I've been listening to podcasts.
Okay. Nice.
And so I was listening to a podcast last week, and I was listening to this one, and this guy was talking about this app that he was on that he uses for booty calls. And it turns out it was my child.
I don't
It
use
was-
it anymore.
And
And I didn't even say any of the details. I told
she
you,
said I was listening to
for
this
the record, I told you to skip ahead. I gave you a very fair warning. I did.
You know why I'm obsessed with you? Because the read, it wasn't straightforward. It was like, let me
Is it-
go like this
Yeah.
winding road to read you for Phil.
Wow. Well, I deserve that.
You absolutely
deserve
did
that.
deserve that.
Whatever.
I did not deserve that.
I told you to skip ahead. I said skip ahead like a minute. Did you listen?
To the podcast.
No. Clearly not. You left Tasha.
We selectively listen.
Yeah, selective listening.
You know, it's like when you are driving by a car accident. You know you shouldn't look, but you do.
Because you
Right.
just can't stop listening.
That's how
Well,
it felt.
That one was a good one to hear who he invites into his home.
Wow. It was a good story. It was a funny story.
It was a great story.
And it wasn't even that salacious, to be honest. Nothing happened. I pretended to puke and sent him home.
Okay. Sure.
Well, thank you for sharing your You're Done story and making it about me. I do
You're-
love attention,
you're
so
welcome.
it works. Okay, so I feel like that's a great segue to just get right into it with my mom.
Vroom.
The theme of the episode is her. So I feel like our listeners have been hearing about you for the entirety of this podcast.
Mhm.
I even was on a different podcast that was about you. You heard about
Oh,
this,
yeah,
my
yeah.
very first
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So it feels very full circle moment to finally have you actually on it with us. So,
I have a question.
yeah, please.
Are you obsessed with me?
Are you?
Why are you so obsessed with me?
I mean, you are. I'm not obsessed with
This is a
you,
gift.
but you are a good. You're
You're not
great.
obsessed with your mom?
You're. I mean,
You should be obsessed with your mom.
obsessed is a bit strong, but you are great canon, like content. You're great content.
Great.
This will be our most watched
She said a
episode ever.
question.
Yeah, they're gonna ask me to be removed, or you just replace me on the podcast, probably.
Oh, this is spectacular.
So yeah, I guess Tash, what's the burning question? You can stand in for everyone else in my life. What's the burning question you've always wanted to ask my mom?
Well, okay. Obviously, we have Brendan of today,
Yeah.
but I would love to know more about Brendan of yesteryear. Right? Tell me, like, little adolescent Brendan, what was he like? Did you know then that he was a little gay boy?
I think we kind of had a hint from the time he was around 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Was he on
He-
me then?
I don't
Whoa,
luckily
hey, groomer.
I don't think there were apps back then.
No.
But no, he was quite a little twirly, screamy boy.
Twirly, screamy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to say I had a theater voice.
Oh.
Yeah, that was was
Yeah.
more when you were an adolescent. When you were like little.
Yeah,
Like I think our first idea might have been, so Dave's dad is an amazing woodworker,
Okay.
and Brendan is the first grandchild. So
the favorite.
Dave's dad would literally spend, I don't know, weeks or months building him these very intricate wooden, like bulldozers and dump trucks and excavators, and they were so beautiful.
And he's like, I don't
And we would get them and bring
Just
them,
wait.
like he would give them to him for Christmas, and they sat nicely at our house. And then we were at Dave's parents one time, and Grandpa was making something, and Brendan said, "Grandpa, do you know how to make Barbies?"
So cute. And they did give me Barbies. That's one thing I will give them credit for. When I may remember this wrong, but I think didn't you like basically dangle the idea of giving me a Barbie if I didn't pee the bed for a week or something?
So no, that's not exactly how that went.
Okay.
So a couple things. So you had to get allergy testing, and you didn't like needles and would freak the F out. And so I told you if you didn't cry, you could get whatever you wanted, and you said you wanted a Sailor Moon doll.
It's Slay. Yeah, Sailor Mars for the record.
I was Sailor Jupiter girl.
Oh,
So that was one. And then Brendan wet the bed till he was about 6.
You heard it here. Yes.
Yeah. And then never again.
We tried everything, and we would ask him, like, what is it that, what can we bribe you with not to wet the bed? And it was a whole week. You had to go a whole week without wetting the bed.
Well, would he have a lot of water before he went to bed, or like milk or anything like that?
We tried everything.
But he was absorbed. He kept it in like a certain spot of his bladder.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah, wait till I go to bed.
Yeah.
And so what he did tell us was that he wanted an Esmeralda doll from the Hunchback.
From the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing was,
very pretty.
Oh, she's very pretty.
But the thing was, is it took him so long to not wet the bed that when he finally did go a full week, it was almost impossible to find Esmeralda because the movie was.
She said
it was. The movie was you're done. By the time it happened, we eventually did track one down. But it was a struggle.
That's pretty cool that they would do that, right?
That is really
to be like,
sweet.
okay, sure, whatever.
Let's not say they.
Okay, well,
he was not against it.
Got it, but
he wasn't like
exactly like yay,
let's go get our son
yeah.
He brought a Vancouver Canucks hockey stick to the hospital when you were born.
Yeah, and it touched my body and killed.
Wait. Rewind. I feel like that's
I'm named after a hockey player.
Yes, but I knew that. You like to tell that story all the time because it pushes you up a little bit, I guess. But like, so as you are approaching the hospital, you're like, I must bring this hockey stick with me?
He didn't bring it to the hospital until like Brennan was born.
I was like,
so when he came back to the hospital,
I was
like
in
the
my
day
little
after.
basket.
Yeah.
There's a picture
Here's
of it.
son.
Yep.
Yeah.
Use this one
and it touched my body and turned me gay.
Oh, it was a wand.
It turned you gay.
Linda's wand.
It
turned you gay.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you knew from an early age.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah. Well, then there was the blip where I had a girlfriend that really confused her.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all made sense again.
Right.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a theater kid. And all of his friends were girls.
Yeah.
All of his friends were girls except Errol.
Yeah.
And Pavel.
So I had some boys as friends.
Yeah, in his between 8 and 10 or 12 year.
There was
time
one or two.
Is when he had guy friends.
Yeah.
And then the rest of his friends have always been girls.
Well, and now gay guys. Once the gay was out there, then it was
already
yeah.
Well, I think it's super beautiful that when you had an inkling from a very long time, and that you're also very supportive because that doesn't always happen.
No, he's my best boy.
That's me.
Best
yeah.
My best boy.
Yeah. So, Mom, I think you had a story that you've been dying to tell. You have embarrassing stories that you wanted to share. This is your opportunity to.
Well, Dad really doesn't want me to tell the story, but it's epic.
That means I want to know it even more.
But she said, and I don't care, and I don't care.
But it's even more. But it's epic. It's epic, and it's super.
This is the finale. We need epic.
Okay.
It's epic.
So
if you're watching this and not just listening, watch the color of my ears as she tells the story.
Yeah. That's how he shows his embarrassment.
Oh, then you'll see his tan.
Yeah.
It'll glow more.
Yeah. What's Dad look like right now?
He's fine. He's looking at his phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when Brendan was born,
going way back.
He
had, so when baby boys are born, I'm going to go back again. I'm sorry.
We're getting a biology lesson first.
Your biology lesson first. So fetuses have all their internal organs, and you can't really tell, what sex they are. In utero, because everything forms on the inside and they all look exactly the same.
I'm a doctor. I follow.
Yeah. So then as you get later on in pregnancy and when they're born, instead of turning into ovaries, the testicles, they turn into testicles.
Yes.
But because they were formed inside, there's holes in their pelvis.
Yes.
And because they're called inguinal rings.
Say it again.
Inguinal rings.
Spelled here.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
So
Unlikely.
So typically, once the babies are born and in your utero, those rings close. Well, when Brendan was born, because they hadn't closed. And that can be an issue because baby boys can get hernias.
Oh.
And so Brendan's had closed mostly, but not all the way. So they were monitoring him because they weren't closing.
This is actually all news to me.
Oh, yeah.
So is it like a mini vajay?
No.
No, it's
No.
It's like he had a spot for ovaries, but they didn't close.
Okay. Got it.
So
I've literally never heard this
Even
before.
cooler. Yeah.
So
Anyways,
so they kept checking him. He never, because often babies need surgery for that. Anyways, at about 5 years old, we took him to the surgeon to find out, because
these holes.
Yeah, because our doctor is like, they still don't feel like they've closed all the way. So I'm going to send you to a surgeon to have a look. So we took him into the surgeon, and the surgeon has to look at his nether regions.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, you know what? These rings are not a problem, but why didn't you get this fixed? And
what was this?
So
over to her.
Yeah.
Over to her.
So Brendan also had this little issue where he could pee around the corner. Like
at a 90-degree angle, basically.
And we always wondered.
No, but I could be facing forward and then peeing at a 90.
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was something called hypospadias, which just means like the hole wasn't where it was supposed to be. It was like a little over. And how they fixed that, because they did tell us when he was born that he couldn't be circumcised because of this issue, but they didn't tell us what the issue was. We're like, okay, whatever. So the surgeon at 5 said, okay, well, these rings are fine, but why didn't they do something about this? We're like, well, they didn't tell us it was a problem. She's like, well, yeah, it's a problem, especially as he gets older. So you need to get this fixed. So
did they say what the problem would be?
That you'd be peeing
sure,
over
but I could just sit down to pee forever.
Yeah, I don't know.
He changed his diapers as a kid. You know, sometimes they say it'll straight up, so that it was just going adjacent.
I don't even remember that. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways,
okay, so they just said fix
they
it.
said you need to get this fixed. So they sent us to a urologist, a pediatric urologist, and he explained to us that, the reason that they told you he couldn't be circumcised is because they use the skin to move the hole where it's supposed to be, and then they use that skin to rebuild it. So we're like,
reconstructive surgery.
Yeah,
like, okay.
Plastic surgery.
You basically needed plastic surgery.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, no problem. So I've always been really open with my kids. I didn't want him to think that, it was going to be no pain. You're going to go to sleep. It's going to be fine. So we're walking into the hospital, the Alberta Children's Hospital, the day of his surgery. And I'm like, okay, buddy, just remember that when you go in, the doctor is going to put you to sleep. And when you wake up, your penis is going to look like Dad's. And he started bawling. And he said,
I'm going to start bawling right now.
He started bawling and he said, I don't want it to be that big.
I can feel my ears turning bright red.
I am unwell.
I mean, come on.
I am
this
unwell.
poor little man thought his little 5-year-old body was going to go to sleep and he was going to wake up with a man penis. A man penis.
I'm blessed to be here. You're blessed to be here. This is spectacular. Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, babes, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be in pain.
No.
You're gonna wake up and your penis
This is
gonna
gonna be huge. That's gonna be.
Whoa.
It's gonna be.
And for the viewers, when you pee now, does it always go straight or does it go down?
Yeah, they fixed it. They fixed it. I do like to joke like this. I have told this story before, not maybe on the podcast, but in stand-up I've
Not
talked
to me.
about it before.
I've never heard that.
No.
Not in one that I
No,
came to. Not
no.
the one that you gave COVID to everybody.
I didn't give COVID to everyone. It was Carly gave COVID to everybody.
Goodness.
But I've joked that I've had plastic surgery on my dick before.
Don't say dick in front of your mother.
Well, you just said it in front of everybody.
I said
so.
penis.
She said penis.
She said, and then she said dick.
She said penis.
Yeah, penis. I mean, we can't put this on YouTube, can we?
Yeah, that's like wild work.
Very.
Oh, that was a spectacular
That's
story.
my
Thank
favorite
you for
story.
sharing.
She's been
that.
holding on to that one for a while. It's her favorite story to tell when she meets people for the first time.
Oh, okay.
It's true. All my friends in Vancouver were like, yeah, anyways.
Yeah, your mom told us the
It's
story.
epic, though.
It is.
I was
epic.
there.
It is
I've been
epic.
there for the retelling. The beginning part about the ignigal rings or whatever, that's all new.
Inguinal.
Inguinal.
I need to hear on the screen.
Anyways.
Okay, I have a question. It's
Okay.
not actually related to that, but it's just like me in my mind. Okay. As a counselor, as a teacher, you've had 2 kids, clearly with funny stories.
Yeah.
Like, what is something that you've noticed in like other kids that you're like, oh, my kids never went through that, or vice versa? You're like, oh, they should have had a little bit of a toughening up on something like this, or anything that you noticed that you saw a theme in other kids, but not in your kids, if there was ever.
I think for us it was different because Dave and I had our kids so young that we grew up with our kids. So I think, and Brendan will
Oh, that was
probably agree with me on this, is that boundaries are a lot different in our family than in lots of other families because we don't have that.
They should be. There should be boundaries, is the point.
Boundaries,
Not necessarily. We have good communication
Not always.
and open communication.
Sometimes.
Let her speak. The question was for her.
But yeah, we don't have the same boundaries in our communication and joking around
Oh,
that
yeah.
lots of families do
That-
because
Give me an example.
She just told a story
I just told
about
a
my
story about his
circumcision.
penis. Yeah.
To a podcast
That's fair.
for the whole world to hear.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
shit.
no, that's very true. That's
I
very
make
true.
inappropriate jokes
Yeah.
with my kids, but we've always had open communication around that. And in fairness, like I was going to school to be a social worker when my kids were little, and my first practicum in social work was at a sexual health clinic. And so we had
it
a
hassle-free
lot
for you?
of open conversations. This
Yeah.
is going to be a very sexual podcast.
It's
I'm
weird.
sorry.
You brought up the
you
fact
were
that he
li-
had a booty.
Yeah,
call.
yeah. You were literally.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that's true.
oh,
That's
welcome
true.
to
That's
your
true.
Yeah, welcome to You're Done.
Yes.
You're Done. Yeah.
But like
Let me tell this
Who
story.
gave the birds and the bees conversation to?
Well, she did, but the thing she's talking about is so she had to go to schools to, like, in her practicum, she had to go to schools and, like, teach high school students about sex ed. And she was making a trifold, like, poster to be able to, like, share with the kids, like, here's how you use a condom, whatever. And she had our whole family sit down and try flavored condoms together to see which one tasted the best so that she could have the student.
And water right through the water. You really went too fast.
Yeah. So
Question.
question, which one was the best? It was
No, that
strawberry.
wasn't the question.
It was
So
strawberry. We all agreed.
sit around the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And like, one for you.
Yeah.
Kennedy, here's one for you.
Great.
Take a lick.
Strawberry. Yeah. And tell me which one tastes the best.
I think the most horrific part of that
Oh.
was really mostly for Dave because he came downstairs and Kennedy, it was just Kennedy and I sitting there, and I had the condoms beside me. And Kennedy's like, Mom, what's the orange one? What flavor is the orange one? And I said, peach. And she said, do you think it really tastes like peach? And I said, I don't know. Let's try. So we ripped it open. I put it on her hand, and she's doing this.
So wait, so
And-
she has the condoms around her hand.
Yeah.
I think
And she,
like
yeah. And she's like this. And Dave comes downstairs, sees his 8-year-old daughter with a condom on her hand, with her tongue sticking out, about to lick it. And he looks at me and goes, and then turned around and went back upstairs.
He said, I don't need to deal with this.
this
Yeah,
is great.
They've always been like pranks. They always played a lot of pranks on me.
Oh,
specifically because I was
Were you naughty?
No, I was just
Were you
like, I was
annoying?
very easily embarrassed. And so like when I
I
was
think
in
you
like,
still are.
I don't think as much.
Maybe not as much.
But like when I was in like grade 6, I don't know why, but the idea of my mom saying the word underwear was like the worst
no,
possible.
underwear was fine. It was only regarding your underwear.
Specifically talking about my underwear.
You wearing your underwear today, and you'd be like, oh.
Ah, yeah. And so they really like leaned into that. And so there was one day where I'd rented some stuff from Blockbuster, and we had gone to Walmart before.
You're really aging yourself, Blockbuster.
Yeah. I mean,
I miss
it is
it.
what it is.
It is
So
what it is.
we had gone to Walmart before and bought like a pack of like tidy whities. And I went into they dropped me off at the Blockbuster to go in to return stuff. And while I was doing that, I go into the Blockbuster, return the things. And when I turn around, my parents and my sister are all sitting in the car wearing the underwear on their head going, Brendan's underwear. And that's why I am the way I am.
Oh, goodness. Even the computer is like overwhelmed by the funniness of this story. We're just double checking the sound is
Yes.
still going because we cannot be missing this content. Oh, so now I got to find out if that will still bother you.
It won't.
Right, but it's
Nothing,
your
noth-
remember.
nothing will
Yeah,
embarrass me. I mean, the other story is that I was meaning to tell was there was a period of time when I was in Vancouver that my parents thought I was a prostitute.
That is not true.
That
I
is
literally told
true.
you a story last week that someone
That's-
thought I was a prostitute.
And that's when you said it. I was like, that made me remember that my parents thought I was a prostitute.
Okay, why did you think this?
I don't think we did.
Yes. So here's the story. So we have a family friend who shall not be named, who I think what you're now
What was
remembering what you're
Alice's
talking
way?
about.
No, I just want you to be careful.
I'm not saying any details about this person besides the fact that they were perhaps nobody knows, but perhaps had some gentleman friends in their life that would pay for stuff.
Okay, so you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do.
And there were anyways. And so I guess that like raised some alarm bells. And so I was living in Vancouver and volunteering for this community center, and they did a retreat to Tofino, which is like a nice area on the island. And I had texted my mom to be like, oh, I'm going on this like volunteer retreat, whatever. And she was like, okay. And then I guess maybe I forgot that I was like going that day or whatever. And then I posted some pictures in this place, and my mom texted me and was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm in Tofino. She's like, why? Who are you with? And I was like, I'm with volunteer people.
My gentleman caller.
And she immediately was like, you know what? When you get home, we need to talk. And so when I got back from Tofino, I
I don't
called
remember
her
this.
and she was like, so who are you really with? And I was like, I was on a volunteer thing. She's like, well, there was nobody in your pictures. It was just pictures of you. So who were you really with? And I was like, what are you thinking? She's like, well, did you pay for the trip? And I was like, no, I didn't pay for the trip.
My sugar daddy did.
Yeah. And because I was like being defiant, I wasn't like directly saying like it was just a volunteer trip and it was free. I think I was trying to be like, well, would it be an issue if I was?
Oh, you sassy little bitch.
Boundaries.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm loving. Were you ever, for example, like him, as a Jamaican, growing up in a Jamaican household, very different. Boundaries doesn't exist, but very different than this
Yeah.
conversation.
No, the same.
But like, we ever have like, when people are grounded and things like that. Right?
Yeah, I go
Were you ever
grounded.
yeah, I was gonna say, were you ever grounded?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
what was your version of grounded? And was it like no phone or go to your room or like for a week you come home right after school? Like what was a version of grounded?
I can't
that you did?
remember. I don't remember.
I think probably taking away his PlayStation or
You
his
mean my
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have a
that was
PlayStation.
probably
Yeah.
all grounding was for him. He wasn't
Yeah.
one like you couldn't. You say, you have to stay home and stay inside. He'd be like, yes,
Sure.
Yeah, that wasn't
Sure,
a
put the
punishment.
sun.
yeah, yeah.
My tan.
My tan.
I might
Yeah.
get tanned.
Yeah.
It's gracious.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was probably taking away.
Did he
your
ever
video
have
games?
in the teens or like the troubling times? Was he ever like a little problem?
I'm learning more now because his sister shares a little more about what happened when they were younger. Like I didn't know that he enlisted her in his debauchery. That he would like.
I got away with a lot, like because they didn't know about it.
Yeah, because your sister covered for you. That poor child.
Whatever, you guys were away with her for soccer a lot. That's when I did all this stuff.
Well, I
I
don't
need to
even
know what you
know
I
about
would
that.
throw
Like
parties, or like
Oh.
I would skip school, and there would be that automated like call that would come to the house if you had like skipped. It would be
from the
like
school.
to be like, Brendan from Dr. E.P. Scarlett missed one class today.
Got it.
And I would call her and be like, delete it.
yeah. So his sister would delete the message off the answering machine before we would
Okay,
get home.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
Shout out Kennedy. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and then I'd throw parties and stuff when they were away. And like
Did anything ever break like in the movies and you're like, oh my gosh, your favorite vlog
someone broke the screen door to the back,
Not
and
the
I
screen
just told
door.
them that I broke it. Because I was clumsy, so I just said that I kicked it. But in
Yeah.
fact, it was one of the 20 people that I had at the house.
Oh, you
Lovely.
hearing it. Lovely. Hearing it here.
Yeah. You can cheat to the camera for that one, for sure.
Lovely.
Oh, I love
my
these
gosh.
questions.
Yeah. Any other burning, embarrassing story that you want to tell the people?
Do you want to talk about your athleticism?
Oh, yes.
Or lack thereof?
Meow,
Please,
meow,
go
meow.
Yeah. I remember when his dad, he was about 3, he was teaching him how to ride a bike, and it was like he had training wheels on and he's pedaling away, and literally the sidewalk was like this and then like that. Like you can barely.
It had a curve to it.
But barely went down. And I see Dave out and I'm watching, and Dave's following Brendan, and Brendan starts kind of rolling away a little fast. And Dave's yelling, okay, Bren, brakes, 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 until he ran into the side of the apartment building.
Oops. That's one way to stop.
He's an athlete, clearly.
Yeah.
I tried a bunch of different sports. They never stuck for whatever reason.
Yeah.
What sports did you try?
I think a lot of them.
Well,
Soccer, t-ball.
yeah, t-ball first, but we had to take him out of that because, I mean, he was our secret weapon sometimes because he would just talk to the little kids on first base and they would forget to run, and then we would win.
Yeah.
But then they decided he was a distraction, so they put him out in like left or right field, and he would just sit in the back and fill his hat with grass
And then throw it in the air.
and throw it in the
And
air.
twirl.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, and then
I
he
enjoyed
did.
myself.
Then he did. Was it karate or taekwondo?
Yeah, kung fu.
Oh, kung fu. Yeah.
I told
I
you this
have-
story.
No, you've
The
not told me that.
Yeah.
the Go
Oh,
ahead.
you poor little thing. I felt so bad
The
for
talent
you.
show?
Yeah, he entered himself into the talent show to do kung
in
fu.
grade 6.
And he played the song Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting, and then just did some
Did the 6 kung fu moves that I know for 3.5 minutes
yeah, pretty much.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
in front of the whole school.
Yeah.
I will pay if this is filmed somewhere.
I don't think it is.
I would.
I have a couple of still photos, but Yeah, a poor little guy. I
No,
felt
no.
so bad for you.
Why? I was like living my
Did you
best
win?
life.
Maybe
No.
I felt bad for me.
Yeah, you're embarrassed for
Honestly,
you.
it's the best policy. Honestly, it's the
Yeah, and
best.
he played soccer for a season because his sister was like a fairly high achieving soccer athlete.
I thought you were just gonna say it's like really high achieving and like Brendan.
Oh.
No, I was
Hearing-
good at school.
He was
and
the
she
very-
was good
yeah.
at she was good at athletics.
Yeah, and so I think he saw how much attention she was getting with soccer, so he wanted to try, and it was
he's an
hard.
attention
It was hard.
whore.
It was a
Yeah.
hard season, but he did score a goal at the very end, and
Mhm.
both teams cheered.
Because
I'm so proud of
didn't I
you.
score it on our own?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you scored it on the other, but it was like painful to watch, and so both teams cheered because it literally looked, yeah.
Oh my god, I'm sweating.
I'm
Yeah.
loving every second.
Yeah,
of
there
this.
was something else that came up that I thought was really funny, but now I
Well,
can't think of it.
you might be invited back for another season, so don't give away all your good stories now.
This is so good. This is so good. I'm so
Well,
thankful you're here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful you're
I
here.
will regret
Aren't you?
This will be deleted.
Aren't
No,
you
this
so
will be
thankful that
deleted.
I'm here, buddy?
I mean, I'm excited for the internet because I feel like our engagement's going to go crazy from these stories. So, you know what? You continue to be the content farm I've always needed.
The
Content farm.
Kim, the content farm.
Oh goodness! Oh,
Oh
this
my
is a great
gosh.
episode.
Yeah.
Are we
So-
gonna do a little fun? Are you guys?
Yeah, so to end the episode, so my mom does listen somewhat to the podcast. So we thought a good way as a finale to wrap up this season would be to play the segment Fun or You're Done with my mom and just tell her some of the podcast episodes and she'll tell us, was it fun or you're done? So as a reminder, fun obviously means it's good. You're done means you didn't like it. And you can expand on either. Sound good?
Okay.
So we'll need our special microphones da, 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 da,
La, la, la.
for our segment. And so I have done some pre-work on this and have asked for some of the episodes that she has listened to. You have said that you haven't listened to them all the way through. So
I
unclear.
wonder why.
Well, you weirdly listen to the parts that I tell you to skip. So I don't know whose fault that is. We'll start with an easy one. The Wicked episode. Fun or you're done?
Fun.
Fun?
Loved that movie.
Yeah.
Loved your passion for
Thank
it.
you.
I want to come to Toronto when part 2 comes out and come with you in one of the 10 times that you see
Thank
it.
you, because I know that you knew
Yeah.
that I would multiple times. I do want. I wonder if you think the same way. I want to find a theater that will play the first one, give me a good solid like key break and maybe some num food, and then just watch the second one right after.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what else I want? I want a sing-along. I want a Wicked sing-along.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I don't want to remember the first or the second one because I feel like the second time is when I'll uncover things I didn't see the first one because I'll be crying too much. But I do want to go to a sing along one.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Great. Moving on. Next episode, Fun or You're Done, the Christmas episode.
Now, that was the one where you talked about coming home for Christmas, right?
Yes, that was.
And that was the Christmas tree.
Yeah. She was dressed up as a Christmas tree. It was iconic.
Oh, maybe I didn't see that one.
No, you did.
Okay. It was fun.
Great.
She's like,
Sure.
sure.
The gun that's pointed at the back. The sniper rifle pointed the red dot.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So good. Do I say the next
Yeah,
one?
go ahead.
Okay. Fun or You're Done for the Grammys episode.
It was fun.
You can say you're done if you want to say you're
Well,
The red dot.
it's just the part like I don't listen to that kind of music or anything anymore, so it was harder to connect with
Fair.
that. So it wasn't that the podcast was you're done. It's just that I'm
So
not
you're-
connected with that music anymore.
Well, because you did say you listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks, but like if you had to be like, okay, right now, this is my artist, this is my song right now.
Oh my goodness. We listen to a lot of 80s still in our house. Like
good 80s.
I like any track.
Any track.
Oh my gosh, I honestly don't know,
I
Tasha.
mean, she's talking
I'm on
about
the
how they're
spot.
going to Ireland soon, and she was talking about how much she loves Ed Sheeran.
I mean, not so much 80s.
but that was
No, I do like Ed
I do
Sheeran, and
like
I
Ed
like a mix of music. I have a very eclectic taste in
just
music.
not anybody that would be nominated for Grammy.
But like during like the 80s, like well,
I don't. Can we talk about Taylor Swift for a minute?
go ahead.
If you have to.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was gonna say like Swifties are everywhere. That's not
Yeah.
me.
Hmm.
I think Taylor Swift is an amazing human being. I think she's an amazing lyricist, and I think she's an amazing businesswoman, but not the best singer. Sorry.
Wow.
Listen, I can relate to them the things you said.
Yeah.
We're not her
Yeah.
biggest fans. I respect her as a businesswoman.
Yeah, she's a good
Yeah.
She
businesswoman.
can write a lyric. She can write a
Yeah,
book.
and she didn't win any Grammys
Because of
this year.
Beyonce's time.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so the next one is the episode It Ends With Us. That one about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
Did you
Yes.
watch the movie?
I did.
Did you watch it before that? Like you learned about the drama, or after?
I watched it before.
Mm.
I read the books. Then I went to the movie. Thought the movie was fantastic. I'm a little disappointed in how it's turned out. I'm sorry. I'm not on Blake Lively's team on this one. I think she's a mean girl. Just saying.
She seems like a mean girl.
She really does.
So was the episode fun or you're done?
Well, the episode was fun,
Great.
but
But the context of it.
yeah, but Blake Lively, you're done.
There we go.
You heard it here
first, folks.
Yeah, and I want to clarify because as a therapist and a somewhat feminist in lots of ways, it's not that I support him if some of that stuff was going on. I just
Right.
think the
Handling it.
pissing on each other in the media is
Yeah.
Heard.
uncalled for.
Heard.
Next.
Heard. I watched half that film in my bathtub.
We heard.
Yes, and I was like,
And you thought you were going to be a prune.
yeah, I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an Oscar-winning movie or anything like that, but I
No.
think it's a topic that's important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a good
and
movie.
the cycle of this happening,
Yeah.
and then it's like the movie continued.
Yeah, post.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just weird like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun or you're done to my strange addiction.
Oh,
As you said, peeing on the
yeah,
internet.
that was yeah.
Them pissing on each other.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode.
Okay.
But like people eating their couch, somebody should eat this one. Or it actually looks like somebody has been eating this one.
We haven't talked about this, but this couch is hills and valleys.
Yeah, well,
the hills are alive.
maybe they'll buy me a new
Music.
one now that they've been here.
Well, because it's struggling.
Yeah.
It is
She's
struggling.
struggling.
She's struggling.
Yeah, eating your couch cushions is pretty gross.
Yeah.
Just imagine when they'd be like, yum,
And
yum,
it never stops.
and then never stop.
Yeah, we should get that lady's address and send her this.
We have a donation for you. We have a donation
Yeah.
for you.
The shade of it all. Love
Okay.
that.
Fun or you're done, the Mean Girls episode.
I always find that fun. I really, really wish that you would have sent Tasha the video of you and your sister breaking down at the
Which video?
What?
I get sorry, that's not
Well,
Mean
go ahead.
Girls.
What is
No,
it?
it's we ended up having a conversation because Mean Girls is how I connect how close him and his sister are.
Mm.
And what I was talking about doesn't have anything to do with Mean Girl.
Well,
I lost my mind for
okay,
a
but
second.
what was the video that you wish I had sent Tasha?
Of you guys doing
Super Bass?
Super Bass.
It's okay. She saw it in person last weekend.
Oh, and I have it. And
Recorded.
yes, it's recorded.
Yeah.
And it will be a clip while we're on break.
Slay.
Both of you together?
No, it was
just
just
her by
me. It
herself.
was just me.
Oh, but there's one of us at a resort in Mexico with him and his sister doing it. I have it on my phone. I'll show you afterwards. It's
Slay.
fantastic.
I'm excited. I'm ready. Oh, that's what I'm going to
Yeah.
ask her.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
I know hopefully you'll say fun. Okay, so fun or you're done to the Glee episode.
OMG, fun.
Yes,
I have not met Eddie, but I know
At the time of this recording.
I'm going to love Eddie
Mm.
because Eddie has some style and grace and
And is a Glee fan?
and is a Gleek. And
Love that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Glee
love
is
it.
important.
I'm
I
getting
love it.
replaced on my podcast. I'm getting replaced in my family.
Yeah.
Glee is a spectacular show.
Yeah.
Was and still is.
Yeah, I actually downloaded it after I watched that so that I could relive it.
Love.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what? I feel like we should end on a high note.
Done.
We end on a high note.
Yeah,
Love
I don't
that.
want to talk about that other one anyway.
Okay.
it has been an absolute pleasure
Yeah,
having
thanks,
you
Mommy.
here, having you on the finale of season 2. My cheeks are just grinning from one side to the other, just laughing at all of the things that you've shared. I love that you're just here to eat it all out.
Yeah, to be
Yeah.
cannon fodder.
Love
I'm
it.
the content for on this side.
Apparently.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Of course.
Can you make him kiss his mom?
Give your mother a kiss.
Oh my god.
Oh, love. Love. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So annoying.
No, it's precious.
I love my little boy.
Oh.
That's cute. Anyways, we're all done. You have made it through a full second season. I mean, you're done.
Our first season had like 10 episodes. This one is like what?
24. 24. That's
That's
a full.
from Grey's Anatomy
Yeah, that's
season.
a full TV show.
Yeah.
We'll be taking a break for about a month. About a month and a
A month.
So stay tuned for lots of content on the socials. And then we're coming back with our first episode for season 3, all about the Cowboy Carter. Because we'll be going. So it'll be an international podcast.
Going international, guys.
Yeah, all the way to New York.
We bought it for the
Yeah, exactly. But stay tuned and thank you for listening. And thanks, Mom, for coming. And
Thank you.
we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.